Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm flying my DJI Mavic Mini and I'm gonna test flying it in a high interference zone. So as you can look in the video, I am in an area with lots and lots of electrical cables, power cables, as well as an apartment complex, so many different Wi-Fi devices around. So this is probably the worst possible place to fly any drone, especially any Wi-Fi capable drone. So I'm just gonna pan through here and show you my apartment. I had a screen recording going on during this, but for some reason it only recorded the last 2 minutes when I was returning the drone home. So I'm doing a voiceover right now, kind of talk you through what I was seeing here. At first, I wanted to see how fast, or not how fast, but how far the drone will go. So I'm sort of just scoping out my surroundings here, and as you can see, the newly paved road right there, in stark contrast to the white, lighter color road on the side, the bright white lines. I'm gonna pan down all the way to figure out where I am, and I'm gonna keep flying after. So as you can see, that truck going around that corner, it's sort of approaching where I am. I'm gonna keep going up here. I was checking the highest altitude. When I reached about 125 meters, the drone gave me a warning saying that I might be flying too high for my surroundings, for my local laws, and it allowed me to go up to 150 meters. Now I'm flying in cine mode, so cinematic mode, so it's smooth movement, slow flying. I also adjusted the new settings now available in the DJI Fly app that allow you to reduce the speed of the camera movement as well as increase the movement of the gimbal, so you get even better shots than what you used to get. So I went up to 150 meters and I tried to mess around with the settings, but it would not let me go higher than 150 meters, probably secondary to the local laws. There is a airport about maybe about 5 miles from me, so it's still quite a distance, but perhaps that's causing a local airspace restriction. So as you can see there's that highway that sort of runs right behind our property there, our apartment complex. You can see that construction site far off, but between our apartment complex and that construction site are these high power lines. I'm gonna go ahead and try to fly past those lines and see how far I get before I lose connection. So I'm gonna keep going here. On my phone at this point I start to get some chop-offs as far as the video feed from the FPV view. I'll go ahead and pan through my surroundings here. As you can see, that highway running right behind our apartment complex. When I was recording on the phone, you can actually hear the road noise from that highway. You can see another high power line tower on that end. So we're gonna keep going further away from where I was. On the bottom of the screen, as you would see on the end and the bottom of the FPV view, actually it tells you the orientation of the drone compared to you, so you can orient yourself just by looking at that little indicator there. So we're going to keep moving forward towards the highway there, away from the apartment complex, and see how far we get. So again, I had the screen recording to show you the distance in meters, but that did not record, so I'm going to go ahead and verbally show you. So when I got here, I was at about 350 meters. I'm right on top of these power lines. So I'm going to keep moving forward. And again, I'm in the cinematic mode because I want to get the best possible quality of video. So some of the movements would seem jerky on the drone, and that's because I was losing signals between the drone and my controller. So as soon as the drone gets my directions, it would go ahead and resume moving, and so those movements would seem a little jerky. So I get to around 500 meters away from where I was standing. Right now I'm still at about 350 to 400 meters. I'm gonna keep moving forward. You want to keep your antennas pointing towards the drone at all times, and you can do that by using that little indicator on the bottom that shows you where the drone is in comparison to where you're pointing your remote control and the antennas. So here I'm going to go ahead and show you the construction site, and I start flying towards that direction because I'm still holding my trigger forward, so I keep moving and get to about 500 meters, and at some point you're going to start seeing the camera sort of jerk back home and start moving home. So this was on my end of the view, on my FPV view on my phone. It said that signal is lost, and it initiated a return to home movement right here, and it turned towards me and it started flying back home. And I think when it does that, it does come out of the cinematic mode and goes into the P mode. So it does fly a little bit faster. So you can see it just suddenly sort of turn around and start to approach home. Once I start seeing the FPV view again, and I feel comfortable that it came back enough, I go ahead and cancel the return to home. So here I've canceled the return to home, and I'm going to start flying it myself again. So it is a cloudy day, fairly gloomy looking around. And I'm still at the highest height, about 147 to 150 meters it's allowing me to go. I'm going to go ahead and go tangential to the circle, so I'm still going to move closer to me. Right now I'm about 340 meters away, and I'm going to fly sort of in a circle around me so that I'm not going too far away, because it seems like 500 meters is about how far you would get with the ton of interference you notice around me, including those high voltage power cables that are running through that highway here, and the tons of Wi-Fi devices that are just around me, given that this is a high occupancy apartment building complex. I'm going to turn to my right and start sort of moving tangentially there. I'm still on top of those power lines, but I'm getting a good FPV view, so I'm going to go ahead and keep going. As you can see, those power cables running right down there, and I'm gonna go past them one more time. You can see them running over the road right there, and you see those cars on the road there. I'm gonna fly past those power cables one more time, and for a minute or two, well, for a few seconds, I do lose connection with the drone, and you can see the drone kind of just suddenly stop. And the sudden stops are not me stopping, those are the drone losing control signals from my remote control, so it doesn't want to keep moving. It'll just stop right there until it starts getting signal again. So the signal I lost over there, I'm not sure it was because the power line or if I was not pointed in the right direction of the drone, but I'm pretty sure I was pointed in the right direction, so it probably was the power cables. I'm going to keep going here. There's that another construction site on the other side of our apartment complex. So those buildings that we're seeing, those are a bunch of office buildings, including parking decks. And I'm not sure why they continue that construction there, because a lot of these office buildings are empty, and they're probably going to remain empty for a long time because of COVID-19 and a lot of people working from home. So I put it in sport mode now, and I'm flying aggressively home. So I'm flying full speed. I wanted to see how fast I would go. I was going about 12 meters per second, and my screen recording's kicking in. Alright, so technically I'm on top of me. I'm going to go ahead and look down. Yep, so I know exactly where I am. I'm going to keep coming towards me. And fly away in a different direction. Alright, I can visibly see where my drone is now. I'm going to come down in height. And since I'm in sport mode, the descent is quite quick, 3 meters per second. It's dropping without going out of control. Fly it straight towards me in sport mode. So it's quite fast in sport mode. It's that's towards me, that's behind me. You gotta be careful of your surroundings, because I almost ran into this carport here, right there. I'm gonna go ahead and bring it towards me and land it. So I like to land it on my hand. I'll show you how that is done. I'm just gonna grab it underneath it, and then flip it over, and that's it. I'm gonna stop recording here.